Good evening and welcome back to 31 Horror Nights. It's October 14th and tonight's movie is Dagr. When I try to find movies to watch for Horror Nights, it's all just kind of a blur of Google searches and looking through random lists. I honestly can't tell you where specifically I found reference to the movie Dagr. It had to have been some list about found footage movies. To my American eyes, that is a very strange title. I looked it up. Dagr is probably referencing the personification of Day from Norse mythology. It's not like they ever explained that in the trailer. This is a found footage movie about two YouTubers who are not ghost hunters. From what I can tell, they were trying to steal stuff from a commercial shoot that was supposedly happening at this old mansion. I don't really know the exact sequence of events just from the trailer. But whatever they were going there for, they don't get it. Instead, they get a lot of paranormal activity. I'd assume something happens that makes it difficult or impossible for them to leave. This movie is British, and there's talks of druids in the trailer. Apparently, this is a folk horror movie. This one seems very up in the air. It could be great, it could be terrible, I don't know. I'm gonna go give it a watch. Yeah, I didn't like that very much. I'm giving it a 4. The horror is good, but everything else about it was kind of annoying. Even after watching the entire movie, I still have no idea why it's called Dagr, or even if I'm saying that correctly. The movie is short, I'll give it that. It doesn't overstay its welcome, but even at 75 minutes, it still feels kind of flabby. The whole first half of the movie just felt kind of pointless. It didn't really seem like it was developing the characters or the setting at all. It just showed the characters doing dumb, pointless things. Normally, the formula is that you start out very small and then gradually build up as the movie continues. This movie spends the entire first half of the movie with no scares, and then everything immediately starts at full throttle in the second half. Okay, that might be exaggerating a little, but still, it does feel like that. I always take an intermission halfway through the movies, take a break, and this time it really felt like once I sat back down, I was watching an entirely different movie. Or it was Act 1 of a movie, and then I skipped Act 2, and now we're in the climax. We're in Act 3. The two main characters, Thea and Louise, they are YouTubers, and they run a show I think it's called They Deserved It, and If They Didn't, F It Anyway, where they commit minor crimes and misdemeanors like vandalism or thievery with the guise of sticking it to the man or helping out the little guy, but they seem to do about as much good as the average IRL streamer. Clearly from the beginning, one of them is portrayed as being more annoying than the other, but they were both relatively annoying. The banter and the time wasting and the filler with just watching these two get to the location they wanted to go to was kind of painful to watch. It made me think of those moments in Deadstream where the live streamer just said stuff to say stuff, not really caring if it was right or made any sense. There was a scene, an entire scene, where one of them goes off to pee in the woods, and she does a Blair Witch Project parody for no reason. She didn't even say, out here I feel like I'm the Blair Witch Project. She just starts doing the crying scene right away, and then she just goes back to the car and they keep going. And it's really not that much better at the house where they're filming the commercial. I cannot tell you what this commercial is for, at all. All they were doing was filming a couple being happy at this house. I just had the thought maybe they're doing, I don't know, an antidepressant, and what they were filming was the B-roll for the 2 minutes where they list off side effects. But eventually, things finally pick up, and then that's relatively decent. But then they leave the house, and we get minutes and minutes on end of these two people just walking around and whimpering in the dark. We went from basically nothing to a lot all at once to basically nothing again. Then after more whining and crying, the movie just sort of ends. The horror was good when it was happening, but it was everything else around it that I found wanting. I almost feel like this would have been better as a short, where they spent almost the entire time doing horror, not even try to stretch it out into a movie. Because as a full-length movie, or even as a short movie, I wasn't really a fan. And now I want to talk about a few spoilers. The movie attempts some half-hearted excuse for a backstory for what's going on, this was the house of some druid elder who sacrificed women to the gods or something. I actually don't know if this is one ghost or if there are many ghosts, but Either way, all the ghosts in this movie, they look the same. They're like basically Dementors, just tall figures in black robes. And they actually did have a relatively cool effect where just the ghost was flickering around and everything else looked normal. For a lot of the time, they were chanting something and there was like a voice for a lot of it. It kind of just sounded like a normal voice pitched down. It kind of felt like Trivia Murder Party from Jackbox. And when they weren't chanting, it felt like they were saying something, but it was like so hard to make out, and I wasn't sure if we were even supposed to like be able to understand what they're saying. Also, there was definitely something weird going on with like the daylight. If I'm being charitable, I'm just going to say that it was something that the ghosts were doing, but more likely than not, it was just a continuity error. They're in the house, and there's a window right there, and it's clearly like daylight outside. And then, like, 2 minutes later, they go outside and it is the dead of night. By this point, it's just one of the YouTubers and one of the people from the commercial filming crew left. This was the extended period of whining and crying in the dark I talked about earlier. And there was a point where the woman from the filmmaking crew is, like, in a stick hut or something. And it was so confusing because I thought it was night, but the stuff behind her looks like it's being illuminated by daylight. And it's not the light on her camera. That light flickers on and off, and the only thing that illuminates is her face. Anyway, pretty much right after that, she gets taken out, and the one remaining person who's not either dead or in captivity, the YouTuber, finds her friend who is tied against a tree. But while she's trying to rescue her friend, she gets stabbed, and that's the end of that. And then we get the scary demon, for some reason, cares about the fact that there's a camera and decides to jump scare the camera thing. Although, to its credit, the movie was relatively restrained in the matter. It was so brief, I couldn't even really get a good look at the face at all. And then this one character that before any action started was sent off to go get stuff comes back to the house. And we saw this whole arrival through an outside cam that the YouTubers set up, and I was expecting to see her go into the house, scream, and then run out. But no, we instead see her die too. So really, what was the point of sending her away at all if she was just gonna die at the end anyway? I don't really know. I don't really know why they did a lot of the things they did in this movie. Again, there were good parts in it. The horror was not bad at all. It was just everything else, man. It wasn't even annoying or boring or stupid or offensive. It just wasn't very good. I know it's always kind of a risk when I put these super obscure movies into the docket for horror nights, and this time the risk didn't really pay off. Alright, thank you for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.